Magandang araw sa inyo lahat. Ito si Kristan at ngayong usapan nating crypto, hindi naman natin pag-uusapan lang trading. Dito pag-uusapan natin kung ano ba talaga nangyayari when it comes to Web3 sa Pilipinas. So ano ba yung mga proyekto na ginagawa dito sa Pilipinas? Kasi napapakinggan natin usually is what's happening all over the world. Pero alam nyo, in the Philippines, maraming mga blockchain or mga crypto or mga Web3 projects that are happening here. Hindi lang mga meme coins, at mga games. And today, ang guest natin ay isa sa mga leading developers when it comes to Web3. Ladies and gentlemen, introduce ko sa inyo yung ating guest, si Paul Soliman. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you, brother. I'm good. Yeah.
Good, okay. Si Paul, pare, how long have you been in Web3?
Uh, well, in Web3 in general, like we started the company 4 years ago. But, when I drop out of school, I was in Starbucks Philippines. So it was in 2011 when I read the Bitcoin white paper. But, I've been researching about Ethereum when it was launched in 2015.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. When it, on the launch itself. So
Yeah,
alam
yeah,
mo,
yeah.
nung nag-launch siya.
Yes, yes, yes. But of course, I'm not a trader, and I'm a developer by profession, and also I'm a tech guy. So I don't care about the currency at all, but I love the technology. So that's the reason why I've been hooked that time.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then, pero before that, before you got into Web3, you were a developer, Web2 developer.
Yeah, yeah. So my job primarily I started to develop mga systems for businesses. When I was
Ah.
in Starbucks, if you're familiar with the Starbucks card, so I helped the company to deploy that, yung mga ganyan, and the POSs. Yeah.
Oh, no way. Okay, so ikaw pala yung isa sa mga nag-put
Yeah,
together
yeah,
ng
yeah, yeah,
system
yeah.
na yon.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
We started that, our team, that time.
okay. Wow. Okay. And alam mo, Paul, nabanggit mo nga that you're a dropout?
Yes, I dropped out of school. It was in 2008. Then 2009, I was hired in Starbucks already.
My God, alam mo, nakakadismaya yung ganung narinig ko. Kasi baka mamaya isipin ng mga estudyante natin na, o pwede ako mag-drop out tapos magiging kasing galing ako ni Paul Soliman eh. I mean, when you dropped out, you're talking about dropping out from college or high school?
College, college.
College,
Yeah.
okay. So hindi mo na tinapos yung college.
Hindi na. Yeah.
Okay. At when you say you worked at Starbucks, klaruhin natin hindi barista.
No, no, no.
Okay.
I was in the my first job there was in the IT team, processing reports, etc.
Okay, sige. So sa mga nanonood, huwag niyong iisipin na pwede kayong mag-drop out sa college para maging barista sa Starbucks, ha? Okay, sige. Paul, let's talk about Web3. So you got into Web3. Siguro maybe sabi mo sa amin, ano yung nag-attract sa'yo sa Web3 versus the current internet, the current programming, which is Web2? Ano
Hmm.
yung, what made you make that leap?
Yeah. So I believe it's because I really believe that data privacy is human rights.
Mm.
So data ownership is human rights. The current Web2 systems, we all know that when you use Facebook, when you feed your data to Twitter, etc., or to X now, it's owned by them, not you, right? There's no sense of ownership in terms of, like, do I have a choice if Facebook will delete it or something, right? It's written there, but of course I'm not given any choice to do that.
Siguro a lot of people that are watching, hindi nila maintindihan gaano ka-importante yung data privacy. Sa Pilipinas napansin ko. Sa States, nakikita ko they're very particular about protecting their data. Pero sa Pilipinas, parang hindi nila naintindihan ano ba yung importance nung pagmamay-ari ng sarili mong data. Give me examples of how, I think you already gave one nga eh. They
Yeah.
can delete your information anytime they want. Ano pa yung mga problema when you don't own the data and how can they use that data against you or to exploit that data?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that happened already, right? Like the in Facebook, we saw that, before it was used politically, etc., right? You don't have a choice with that. In fact, the users, or meaning the data that the users is giving, we don't know where they are using it, right? Hindi natin
Mm.
alam kung saan nila ginagamit yan, right? The problem with that is, if you feed so many data to the World Wide Web, to the internet, it's like a black hole, right? Sa black hole, may tinatawag na horizon, no? Horizon, when you go there, technically, according to science, is hindi natin alam kung ano nangyayari after the horizon
Mm.
sa black hole, right?
Yep.
It's like the internet.
So ang sinasabi mo 'pag nabigay mo na yung data mo sa kanila, hindi na natin alam kung anong puwede nilang gawin dun at marami silang puwedeng gawin dun.
Yes.
I think if you look at it, even in elections, nagagamit yun, 'di ba? And
Yes.
even spreading of fake news and misinformation, it's using our data. How does Web3 protect us from that? Oh, yun ang importanteng tanong.
Yeah. So, because Web3, so if we go to Web2, right? I
Hmm,
think na-discuss mo na to sa mga dati mong episode, right? If we go to Web2, it's a participatory internet.
mhm.
Meaning, yung Web1, pag binalikan natin, ang kaya mo lang gawin doon, magbasa ng news sa
Yes.
Yahoo or wherever, right? It's the 90s, di ba?
Mhm.
Tapos Web2, in terms of like, ano ba nagagawa mo sa Web2? Ngayon, participatory, meaning pwede ka na mag-upload ng picture,
Okey.
right? Pwede ka nang bumili sa Amazon, pwede ka nang bumili sa Facebook Marketplace. Ang dami. Ibig sabihin, nagpa-participate yung tao. Instead na read lang, ngayon, read and write,
Okey.
right? Ngayon, nung pumasok yung Web3, technically, it's a general consensus, right? Na, okay, Web3 na. Kasi ngayon, instead na read, write, ngayon pwede nang mag-own. Okay.
Hmm,
So, okay, for example, the analogy there is in terms of Facebook going back. Kasi yun naman ginagamit natin lagi, right?
right.
So, sa Facebook, pag yung data mo, or sorry, nag-upload ka ng picture, sa computer ginagawa nun, nagre-write sa database. Pero kaninong database yun? Sa Facebook, right?
Right.
But si Facebook ba, may way ka para makita na pag dinilit mo yung picture, dinidelete ba talaga nila?
Hindi.
Right? Hindi.
They own it.
They own it, right? But in Web3, all right, but it uses blockchain technology. Well, baka later on we can explain that later.
Yes.
But kung ano man ang fini-feed mo or ini-insert mo, sinusulat mo, meron kang signature sa bawat action na ginagawa mo. So it means kahit anong gawin mo doon, may permission na binibigay yung tao na gustong mag-transfer ng pera or magsulat or whatever.
Yeah. So in other words, ang sinasabi mo, and I think we've talked about this so many times, even on my own podcast, na para lang klaro sa lahat, ang Web2 kasi is you're logging into their server. 'Di ba? So hawak nila yung information mo. With Web3, hawak mo yung information mo at pinapayagan mo lang mag-interact yung website sa'yo.
Correct.
So kahit yung mga like for example, ako may mga NFTs ako tulad ng nakikita nyo dyan sa likod natin. Yan, yan. Pinapahiram ko lang yan sa web. Ino-authorize ko yung website na makita yan. Pero once na mag-logout ako, pwede ko din siyang, pwede ko i-de-author, hindi yung image, pero yung access to that. So hindi nila pwedeng ma-access yan nang wala akong permission. Kung ba hindi nila pwedeng ibenta nang hindi ko alam. Hindi nila pwedeng basta-basta gawin ng kahit na ano kasi akin yan. Ako
Yep.
lang ang may hawak nun.
Yep.
'Di ba?
That's correct. Oo.
Yun ang isa sa maganda sa Web3 eh. And when it comes to financial transactions, that's very important. 'Di ba?
Yep.
Mm.
So pag nakita natin, even Bitcoin is data, right?
Mhm.
Lahat naman yan data. That's why in the Web3, space or movement, if I can use that term, we're pushing for your data is yours, right?
Yes.
If you, well, right now we're calling it wallet, right? But later on we can just call it the uh my personal blockchain ID or whatever you want to call that storage. But technically, once the data, it's either financial data, it's either asset, right? We
Mhm.
can talk about real world asset later. We can talk about, as Chris mentioned, NFTs. As long as it is in your wallet and you have the keys of your wallet, ibig sabihin yan sa'yo yan. Walang pwedeng umaga, walang pwedeng umangkin.
At saka hindi na kailangan i-verify ng kahit sino. Kasi verifiable yan, trustless, ibig sabihin wala ng third party to verify the authenticity of kahit na anong meron mong asset, 'di ba?
That's correct. So the arbitrary or the one that is managing everything is the code, the logic. So technically walang palakasan sa blockchain.
Ayun.
So meaning hindi porket maganda yung ape ni Chris, 'di ba? Mas valuable 'yan. It's not like that. It's always the blockchain, the logic will decide.
At saka idadagdag ko rin ano, Paul, na ang maganda din kasi sa blockchain o sa paglalagay niyan into the blockchain is hindi na siya open to interpretation, 'di ba?
Yep.
Kasi it's pure logic. So kung ano yung sinabi, yun and it's that is universal.
Yep.
Oo.
Whether you put a wrong data there or a correct data there, it's gonna be the absolute truth.
Hmm.
Whether your truth is incorrect or whatever, if I may use that term. But
Ayun,
at
okay.
the end of the day, whatever is on the blockchain, it cannot be edited, it cannot be deleted, it cannot be altered.
O sige, so sa mga I know naman most of the viewers are fairly familiar with the blockchain pero may mga iba din that maybe are not that familiar o kaya they have a basic understanding of it. Sige, let's talk about the blockchain. You were mentioning off cam to me na let's talk about it from the first principles perspective. Oh, the very basic sa mga may hindi alam, first principles is basic common like basic knowledge or the basic questions that you have to ask. Go ahead.
Sure. So first, ano ba yung blockchain, right? In terms of first principle. So technically, the reason why blockchain is there, it's because for us to have trust. And paano ka magkakaroon ng trust? Kailangan mo ng decentralized network, a system that no one's managed. Okay? Let's break it down from a component. In terms of computer, if you will go back to your high school maybe or elementary,
Okay.
meron tayong tinatawag na input, output, and process, right?
Mhm.
So input, that is keyboard, process, that is your CPU, and of course kasama dyan yung storage, and output is your printer or monitor.
Okay.
Whatever you input, it will be processed by computer, and at the end of the day, you will see the output. Now, blockchain is like a computing device or whatever you want to call that, no. So kailangan mo ng storage. Okay? That's what kung nag-explore na kayo ng blockchain, naririnig niyo yung ledger, right?
Okay.
Yung ledger, of course, that's the storage. Meaning whatever you put there, it's gonna be there, right?
Mhm.
So you mean, Paul, it's trustless already and decentralized because of the storage? No,
Mm.
of course. Pero kailangan ng storage kasi kailangan natin maglagay ng information. So that's ledger. Next component, again, I will dissect this into component. Next component is consensus mechanism. Okay?
Okay,
So
oo.
meaning, sa normal computing, or again, if I'm gonna use Facebook, pag nilagay mo yung data mo sa Facebook, walang consensus yon. Ibig sabihin, pasok na sa database nila yan.
Okay,
What
na kumbaga walang nagsasabi na tama o mali.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
correct. Now, of course, again, trust and decentralization. Why you use blockchain, right? We're dissecting it in first principle. So the consensus mechanism is something like this. I mean, sa mga viewers dyan, I think you will agree that I'm wearing color black, right?
Yes.
So in the studio, of course, we have people here. Chris, let's say for example, you're a computer nodes. We call it nodes, right?
Okay.
The server or whatever you want to call that. In layman, sabihin mo na computer ka.
Okay.
Right? Naniniwala ka ba na naka-color black ako ngayon?
Yes, nakaitim ka.
Okay. I think maniniwala din yung mga tao sa studio that I'm wearing color black.
Okay.
So, dahil naniniwala sila, and again, imagine yourself as a computer in the world, technically, you're doing a consensus.
Yun okay. So lahat tayo, we're agreeing that you're wearing black.
Yes.
Okay.
So therefore, if I will convert that to data in terms of blockchain is, kunyari, ako si Paul, ako yung data, naka-color black ako. If may magsasabi dito na naka-color white ako, hindi yan tatanggapin ng network. That's fraud. Kasi outside siya sa consensus.
In other words, the majority.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so technically, anong pinagkaiba niya sa normal na database? So technically, before I can like, put data there, right? Or edit or transfer or whatever you want to call that in terms of data movement, kailangan mag-agree muna lahat ng nasa network.
Okay, kasi
Okay.
yun ang hindi nangyayari ngayon with Web 2.
Yes.
Okay, kasi sa Web 2 ngayon, walang consensus mechanism. Ibig sabihin nun, whatever data you input or you can edit can be accepted as the truth. Kaya may hacking.
Yes. So, hindi ko naman sinasabi na unhackable yung blockchain. In fact, I can say that there's no technology that is unhackable. Pero, mahirap i-hack yung blockchain
Mm.
because of the consensus mechanism. Because imagine, kung gusto mong pag-agrihin lahat ng tao na naka-color white ako, kailangan mo silang kausapin isa-isa at i-convince, right?
Oo.
So, then so technically that in terms of blockchain, as I mentioned, it's the truth, it's immutable and decentralized. whatever happened there, technically, it's becoming decentralized because there's a consensus mechanism.
Okay.
Okay. Next is, another component of blockchain is encryption.
Yes.
Okay? We call it the cryptography. That's
Mhm.
the reason why we called the currency called cryptocurrency, because of the cryptography. So technically, syempre decentralized yan,
Yep.
right? Meaning lahat ng tao, hindi naman may access pero transparent yan. At the end of the day, makikita nila lahat ng transaction na nangyayari. But not all blockchain is anonymous.
Yep.
Right? We call it pseudonymous.
Okay. Pseudonyms.
Pseudonyms. So
Yes.
technically, whatever happens there, I mean, it's not exactly anonymous na hindi mo na makikita lahat.
Mhm.
Nakikita mo pa rin yung transaction, pero kung sino yung wallet na nagtatransact, hindi mo makikita.
Mhm.
Because privacy.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, you can only do that because of the cryptography.
Okay.
Right? For example, Bitcoin is, ayun, sige, hindi ko na lang i-discuss yung mga 128 AES encryption, etc. Wag na. Okay,
Malilito
baka
sila.
ibang ano na lang yan, di ba? So, imaginein mo na lang yung private key and public key.
Okay.
Ganyan na lang. So, that's why may wallet tayo. Yung wallet natin, may public address na tinatawag.
Okay.
Yung public address, pwede yan makita ng lahat ng tao.
Okay.
Okay. Pero, si Chris, kunyari, meron siyang wallet, nasa sa kanya pa rin yan kung gusto niyang i-disclose na sa kanya yon.
Yes.
It's a privacy choice, right?
Yes.
Now, pero paano nagagamit ni Chris yan para makapag-transact sa lahat?
Mhm.
Kasi wallet niya yan, di ba?
Mhm.
May tinatawag tayo na private key.
Okay.
Alright? So, we call that asymmetric encryption. So, meaning, ang nangyayari doon, there's only one way to decrypt and encrypt.
Okay.
Okay. Now, dahil nadi-decrypt ni Chris yan, may decision siya ngayon dahil hawak niya yung private key to transact sa lahat ng gusto niyang gawin sa blockchain. Kasi siya yung may hawak nung key na katumbas ng public key na.
So I'm gonna stop you right there, no? Para lang klaro sa lahat. Kasi I'm sure may mga tumatumbling na ngayon na nanonood na to. Okay. When you say, hawak ko yung private key, ano yung key? Ano yung susi ba yun? No? Ano yun? Like, is it a password? Ano yung key na sinasabi mo na ako lang ang may hawak?
Sige, yeah. I think, I'm not gonna, siguro hindi ko siya i-discuss technically, no? So,
Yeah.
mahirap intindihan yun eh. Kasi may mga elliptic curve, etc.
Okay. Pero yun,
sige. Parang ganito
para
lang yan.
maintindihan lang na when you say private key versus public, ano yung private key na yan na ako
Okay.
lang may hawak?
So, private key, so technically, it's, of course, in terms of randomness, no, ginagawa yan na equivalent yan nung public key mo. Okay, meaning, nagge-generate ng code.
Okay.
Ng numbers and strings, yan. Baka pwede kong gamitin strings, but
Okay.
technically, it's combination of number and words
Yep.
na text-based na ikaw lang yung meron, na unique sa'yo. Alright? Syempre, iba-iba yan. Depends on the encryption na ginagamit. Right now, we're using RSA, di ba? So, well, I don't want to discuss that. But technically, sabihin mo na lang may auto-generated ka na password na sa'yo lang yon, bawal mong pamigay. Okay, at text lang yon na pwede mong itago.
You're referring to the 16 or 24 word keyword
Key phrase.
Key phrase, right?
Yeah.
So mga series of words na unrelated, na jumbled up, tapos kailangan mo ilagay in sequence.
Yep,
Yan
yep.
yung pinaka-importante.
Yeah. But to be like, in a way to be technically correct, is a seed phrase recovery. That's not actually the private keys.
Okay.
Okay? Alright.
Okay.
So meaning para ma-recover mo yung private keys, gumagamit ka nun.
Right.
Ng mga
Okay.
seed phrases. Yeah, but ang private key talaga, sobrang random yan.
Yes.
Na characters. Na
Oo.
pag kinapi-paste mo yan, at binigay mo sa iba, tapos na yung boxing doon.
So even if I don't have your seed phrase,
Yeah.
I can actually, if I find your private keys,
Yeah.
kinapi-paste ko, kaya kong kunin.
Yes.
You just exposed a new way of hacking.
So that's the reason why I appreciate your program, Chris. For me to at least somehow educate, right? Na sobrang important ng private keys.
Oh my God, hindi ko alam na pwede mo palang i-copy-paste. But can you see it on the blockchain? My private keys.
No.
You can't, di ba?
You can't. It's
You
encrypted.
Yun yung
Yeah.
encrypted.
Yeah.
They have to break the encryption
Yep.
para makuha yung, even ako kasi hindi ko makikita yun, ano?
Yes. Makikita mo yan pag ikaw yung wallet.
Owner.
Owner ng wallet.
How do I see it? I don't even know where to see it. Sige nga.
Sa MetaMask, actually, if
Okay.
you're using MetaMask, it's there. You can copy-paste your private key. The details lang, of course, Mahirap
Malalim.
hindi
I
naman,
mean,
actually madali lang siyang i-navigate, pero meron dun
mamaya
makikita mo.
pag-uwi ko hahanapin ko nga. Hindi ko pa I've never seen my own private
You can
keys, ah.
export your private keys. Yeah,
Wow!
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a one way to export your wallet.
Yep, that's true.
Oh my God, Lord! Biglang nagka-panic ako na may isa pa palang paraan. Akala ko talaga seed phrase lang, okay.
Hindi, yeah. Recovery lang yung seed phrase.
Yes,
Yeah.
oo. I mean, that's how you import a wallet, is your seed phrase.
Yeah, through recovery. But if you know the private key, you can import that.
Just,
Yeah.
copy-paste. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so ngayon na-mention mo na yung blockchain and how it works and the Web3. Alam mo, no, one thing that people don't realize is when you say hackable, the reason why Web 2 is more hackable than Web 3 is because hackers generally would prefer to hack something easier. Yun lang naman yun eh.
Yeah, of course, if centralized, 'di ba? I mean, at the end of the day, it's easier to hack a centralized machine.
Yes. Kasi papasukan mo lang isang server,
Then that's it.
wala pang encryption yun eh.
Yeah.
Just go right in
Yeah.
and kumbaga, welcome. May welcome mat pa yan eh, di ba? Unlike Web 3, you really have to go through each encrypted block to be, and plus change all of it in all of the servers all at the same time.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're never gonna be able to hack it.
Yep.
Okay,
And there's no reversal in terms of blockchain.
right.
So meaning hindi ka pwedeng, kung nasa block 2 ka na, hindi ka pwedeng bumalik sa 1. It
Okay.
will always be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And unless you're able to break the previous blocks, hindi mo pwedeng palitan. Kaya yun. Kaya hindi,
If you break the previous blocks, hindi nagagana yung mga succeeding.
yun, okay. So, pero to do that, you would need, yun na nga, pinag-uusapan dati dito, naalala ko, is quantum computers.
All right. So I'm exploring quantum computing as well.
Okay.
So, but in layman, mas mahirap siyang intindihan actually. But if you know quantum physics like superposition,
Yes.
quantum entanglement, you know that, right? The randomness of quantum computing, it doesn't equate to the normal computing logic or understanding.
Yun. Oh, actually, kaya nga pati ako, nung di ba Google came out, I think Google has a quantum computer, di ba? I am so scared na pag lumabas yun into the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, I wonder nga if government has a control na say, hey, you can't use that, ah. Kasi meron na eh.
So yeah, pero of course may mga post-quantum encryption tayo na tinatawag. But again, it's still speculative, right? There's no use case yet na
Right.
totoong proven. But siguro kwento ko lang bakit nakakatakot siya.
Okay,
Right?
para alam ng mga
Alright,
tao.
so ganito kasi yan, di ba? Let's say number 22.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say that's my public key.
Okay.
The number 22. Yung number 22 na yan, in mathematics, maraming way para makakuha ka ng 22, right? It's either 20 plus 2
Okay.
or etc.
Yes.
Multiplication,
Yep.
subtraction, addition. It's marami.
Okay.
In the normal computing, it's binary, right?
Yes.
It reads 1 and 0.
Yes.
Right? So meaning you can perform multiple tasks.
Right.
Right? Well, you can do multitask. That's different.
Yes.
But what I'm saying, for you to be able to decrypt that, you need to some sort of like have many formulation and all, right? But of course, in encryption, we're not talking about 2 numbers.
Right.
We're talking about 256, 128,
Right.
right? So in quantum computing, because there's superposition that we called, meaning you can have multiple state.
Yes.
A state can have multiple state.
Yes.
So you can technically crack or brute for something na iba-iba yung state.
Right.
Okay.
So in other words, just to sorry to stop you, pero kasi ang yung current world we live in is linear. Quantum is non-linear.
Yeah, it's not linear. It's
Oo.
non-linear. It's multidimensional.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you know multiverse, something like that. So
Oo.
subatomic, atomic particles, etc. We compute on that.
So sa mga nanonood ng Avengers, yung mga ganyan,
That's
multiverse.
actually a good way to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since but technically entanglement, I'm not super expert in physics, right? But I'm just, because I love quantum computers and all. So entanglement says that, even though that's a randomness, maraming state, etc.
Yep.
It can always lead into a certain, solution. Which nai-entangle niya yung pag in-entangle mo yung buong state.
Okay. Ako naman kasi mahilig ako sa quantum world and quantum physics, kaya tuwan-tuwa ako doon. Pero of course, kadalasan viewers, I find it's really very difficult to conceive. Even when you talk about my God, I don't even want to say it, pero I'm gonna say it. Even when you talk about the fourth dimension,
Yeah.
ang hirap
So
i-visualize ang fourth
so
dimension.
pinakamadaling magets, 'di ba? Coin flip, right?
Okay.
Sa coin flip, dalawa lang yan, heads and tails, right? In
Okay.
computing, the classical computer, of course, you can do 1 and 0, heads and tails, right? In
Tama.
quantum, you can have multiple states.
So pag flip mo, hindi lang 1 and 0.
Hindi.
It
Oh.
could go
Yeah.
anywhere.
Pero if you entangle, right?
Oo.
2 states, right?
Oo.
2 qubits, we call it qubits. Q1 and Q2. Technically, kahit yung flip natin, magkakaiba ng dami.
Right. Oh my
Pero
God.
isang result pa rin head.
Okay.
Are you getting that picture? See, that's randomness, pero at the end of the day, you get one result because of the entanglement.
Okay. So, just to simplify things kasi we're gonna get really complicated if not Balik tayo sa that relates to computers, diba? So now wala pang quantum computers, thank God. Wala pang at least work, wala pa in the world. It's not out there
Actually,
yet.
there are prototype working.
Oo.
Pero may mga live na rin, pero in terms of like mabe-break niyan yung encryption, wala pa naman eh. It's all about theory.
Yes,
Right?
oo.
I mean, show me any evidence
Yes.
that you broke my wallet or what.
Right. And then the beauty of Web3 nga compared to Web2 is just Bitcoin, for example. Bitcoin has never been hacked since its inception in 2009. So we're looking at, ano na ba tayo, 2025? So over 16 years na yan na hindi na be-break eh.
Yeah.
Which makes it secure.
Yeah, and in fact, if you go to, I think that was a Chainalysis research that most of the hacking in terms of blockchain and all, it's always about the wallet.
It's human error.
Which is you.
Yes,
right?
ikaw yung nahahack.
Yeah. Hindi mismo yung network.
Oo.
Hindi mismo yung blockchain network.
Yeah, so the people that are thinking na parang, kaya may mga narinig kang hacks, hindi yung yun ang nahack eh. Like, phishing is one of the best ways to do it, di ba?
The recent hacking incident, from Bybit.
Bybit, yeah.
Right? I have an article in Bitpinas that I, dissect that. It's a normal, classic phishing attack.
Yep.
That, the interface of approver was spoof. Was, they created a fake one and they convinced all the human to approve it.
Right. So, nangyari din sa kaibigan ko eh. May nag-pop up na MetaMask na window na akala niya, yun yung kanyang MetaMask wallet. Tapos, hindi hiningi yung password. Sabi, please type in your seed phrase. Sabi niya, baka akala niya na log out daw siya, kaya daw hinihingi yung seed phrase. Tinype niya lahat, within less than an hour, ubos lahat ng niya, pera niya doon. So that happens talaga. It's really humans that are making the mistake.
Yep, that's true.
How do you avoid that?
Yeah, so if you go back to seed phrases, yung pinakamadali na lang na maintindihan ng viewers natin, don't store your seed phrases, okay, or your private key on your desktop or your laptop, okay? Because I can create a script, or let's say, in layman, a virus,
Okay.
right, that can find a 12 or 24 characters passphrases or 12 words passphrases inside your file or text file, then I can already get it.
Okay, but then you would have to know my computer. I mean, you would have to know, pupunta ko tong computer ni Chris.
No, I don't need to do that. I just need to do phishing attack to you. And then I can gain access to your computer.
Oh, okay.
Let's say you download these games.
Pag nag-download lang, ibig mo sabihin, you can access my data na just from downloading?
Of course.
Even if I didn't open the game? Basta na-download?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God,
yeah.
Lord.
There are some viruses, but there's a lot of terminal
Types.
like the rat, etc.
Yes.
We can discuss all day about that. But what I'm saying is in terms of exploitation.
Yes, maraming paraan.
As long as I'm already in, then I'm in.
Boy, grabe, nakakatakot naman to. Parang kailangan mo ng protection talaga.
Yeah, so before, I don't believe cold wallet, but it's good that you have cold wallet as well. Please, if you are holding a lot of money or a lot of currency, sorry, it's not money for me. But if you're holding a lot of digital asset, please consider buying a cold wallet.
Talagang cold wallet talaga, no? Huwag ng hot. Okay, kahit MetaMask, okay.
MetaMask is good, but it depends on how you really protect your seed phrases and also your private key.
Okay, so it boils down to that. How do you protect it? So may mga kilala kasi ako, what they do is iniiwan na lang nila. They actually sinusulat
Yeah.
and then they put in a safety deposit box.
For me, that's I have a vault pero hindi vault.
Asaan yung vault mo?
Parang ganyan. Hindi ko sasabihin.
Yeah.
But yeah. But there
Kala
are
ko
but there are
mahuhuli
there
kita.
are some in terms of corporate, like this big the crypto companies or
Mm.
blockchain companies, we have what we call the multisig.
Yes.
Meaning di ka pwedeng mag-release ng pera o ng crypto or mag-transfer kung walang sign ng 3 tao or 4.
Right, right. Oo, okay. So meron na pala yun for ano
Yeah, yeah.
ngayon, okay. Pero paano kung may namatay?
Meron kang parang meron kang like let's say nag-nominate ka ng parang sa bangko, 'di ba? Pag nag-nominate ka ng 2 signatories lang, sorry, kung may 3 signatories ka, it's either yung dalawa do'n, yung pumirma pwede na. Hindi kailangan ng 3. Pero may 3 signatories ka, yung alternate na tinatawag.
Okay. Paano kung ano lang, mag-isa ako? Like I know a lot of retail investors na they're the only signatory and they die.
Hmm.
Meron bang paraan like the way they do it with multi-sigs na automatic may makakuha ng email or something na by the way namatay na
So,
to?
may mga ganong idea now. We call that proof of personhood or
Okay.
proof of social recovery.
Okay.
So, meaning may kakilala ka, pag namatay ka, magte-text sa kanila na, o i-validate mo kung talagang nanay ka o kaibigan ka ni Chris. Something
Okay.
that. May mga ganong dApps, no? Or institution na gumagawa nun. Pero technically, in general, the plain vanilla of blockchain, if people doesn't know your wallet or pag nawala yung cold wallet mo, wala na talaga yan.
Wow,
Ganun.
okay. So it's a good technology that somehow dapat maging mainstream ano kasi sayang yun eh. It's an asset and ako lang I always feel bad when I hear about wallets that you cannot recover your Bitcoin or crypto anymore. And or people dying and then wala nang access. And that's something that even I am thinking about
Mm.
na if mawala na ako dito sa mundong to, sana may makakuha na lang at mag-benefit dito sa Bitcoin ko. Sayang eh.
Usually, you can, like, parang yung idea ng trust fund, di ba?
Okay.
Pwedeng ganun. Pwedeng ma-unlock to kapag namatay
Ah,
ka or kapag yung anak mo, say, 18 years old na, something like
right,
that.
right,
You
right.
can, in a way, logically program that.
You
Not
ca-
on
oh,
Bitcoin, not on Bitcoin. So just to let you know, Bitcoin network, it's not programmable like Ethereum, right? It's a different, blockchain.
yes.
So, but sa mga programmable blockchain like Ethereum,
Mm.
you can really put smart contract na ganun.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. I like that. Wow, kung meron nun, I mean, I'd like to avail of that. See, what you talked about today, kanina ngayon lang, na sabi mo, Bitcoin is non-programmable and Ethereum is programmable. But I actually thought Bitcoin you can program because I've seen, I'm not sure if it's called, if this is considered programming, but I've seen inscriptions on it already.
Oh yeah. Well, technically there's Bitcoin doesn't parang use smart contract like Ethereum eh. So
Okay.
there's a very limited things that you can do there, right? You can
Mm,
even put your data on Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has a smaller storage block eh.
okay.
So that's the reason why they're saying, oh, ang bagal niya kasi limited lang yung storage. Of course, that's
Right.
and it's technically the reason why it's strong because it was programmed that way. So let's say the Bitcoin halving, right?
Yep.
So it's like a phenomenon. No one can control it. It's like human nature.
Oo.
It's like
What?
Mother Nature,
Yes,
not
oh,
human
not
nature.
human nature.
Yeah.
Kasi human nature can be ano eh.
So technically, the halving will happen whether you like it or not.
Wow,
If it
okay.
reached a certain block that was mined already, of course the timeline is always 4 years,
Yep.
etc. But again, that is written already on the source code of Bitcoin. Even the kings of the earth, diba, of the earth
Yep.
cannot, the presidents of the earth cannot really, cannot really control that.
Yeah, and that's one of the most, for me, nung tinatanong sa akin palagi, ano ba yung inherent value ng Bitcoin? Sinasabi ko, ang inherent value niya ay the fact na walang may control sa Bitcoin. Walang bansa, walang gobyerno, walang kahit na sinong may control. Even the guy that created it cannot control Bitcoin. And
Yeah,
that's what is the inherent value.
yeah,
And that's what makes it valuable.
yeah.
Babanggitin ko din yung sinabi mo dito na na yung sa halving niya kasi happens every 4 years. And I like na may nakwento si Jack Mallers ata nagsabi na to, yung may-ari ng Strike, sabi niya, if you look at it, yung paglabas ng Bitcoin happens, it's locked in time. It's not locked under the ground, it's locked in time. So ang galing nun eh, yung sa oras siya lalabas. Kahit na gaano kahirap ka magmamine,
Mm.
hindi yan lalabas. It only happens with
Mm.
time and that's it. And it's immutable.
Because that is really a good example of the trustless technology.
Mm.
You don't really trust.
Yep.
Meaning when I say you don't really trust, there's no human being that controls that. So technically, you trust in the logic,
Right.
right? The reason why it's trustless because I mean technically on a network perspective, it will happen and it will happen because it's in the source code. Eh.
Right. Okay. So in other words, it's like the sun rising tomorrow. You know it's gonna rise and nobody can stop it. Parang ganun
Yep.
siya. Oo, universal siya. So okay, so having talked about now Bitcoin and the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay, dito na tayo ngayon pag-usapan natin yung Ethereum. Kasi Ethereum, ang pinagkaiba niya, sabi mo nga, is you can write smart contracts on it. Okay. So how are we now taking advantage of these smart contracts and what can we do with the smart contracts now?
Okay, good
Ayan.
question. So, yeah. So Ethereum in general, it's like your normal computer that you can already program, right? That you
Okay.
can already do whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go to smart contract first. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng smart contract, right? So smart contract, if I will explain it in layman, it's like purely a legal contract, for example, or
Mm.
a constitution,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Something like that. I can use constitution, right?
Yes, oo, tama.
So constitution is like so I'm not a lawyer, disclaimer, but if I'm gonna use my as a programmer, as a developer, in constitution, syempre, kung anong sinulat dyan, that's it. You
Yep.
need to follow.
Yep.
There are rules on how to follow, right? But you can also interpret, right?
Mm.
So in terms of smart contract, if I write a smart contract today, it's like a constitution that I already put all the parameters that the program will do,
Mm.
that the computer will do.
Right.
It's like my instruction, right? And it's open source. Everyone, like constitution, it's open
Everyone
source.
can see it.
Every Filipino can see it, right?
They know what it is.
Yeah. So let's say I would write a smart contract that in every 15 days,
Okay.
my Ethereum token or whatever token like a USDT, like a
Okay.
stable token, that in every 15 days I will unlock the token to your wallet.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be 16 days, it's 15.
Nabibigay mo sa akin yung pera mo, parang
Mm.
ganun, okay?
Kumbaga, kung may utang ako sa'yo, Chris,
Okay.
sa totoong kontrata, nilagay ko, 15 days, magbayad ka na,
Oo.
etc. So, whatever happened there, because, again, as I mentioned, but you encode as well that you have really 15 USDT,
Yes.
let's say 100 USDT
Yes.
for me to pay. Pag wala, hindi mag-execute yung contract, diba? So, kailangan may laman, diba?
Mhm.
But, again, at the end of the day, walang sino man na makakapigil nun. As long as it is written in the smart contract that this 100 USDT will be with Chris
Mm.
on the 15th day.
Yun. So that's the beauty of smart contracts is that, hindi, sige. Anong pinagkaiba ng smart contract with regular programming?
Mm. Well, smart contract is still logic based. It's still a language. We call it. You can use Solidity
Okay.
as at least on Ethereum,
Yeah.
kasi
So,
it use Solidity.
Solidity is a programming language.
Yep.
Parang sa ngayon, meron silang, ano ba yung mga language ngayon? Nakalimutan ko na.
Python,
Ayan.
etc.
So, ito, Solidity is just another language.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if how will I translate it? In a normal syntax, a normal programming language, or a normal, let's say Python code or a JavaScript code, if you don't put that on blockchain,
Oo.
like if it's not a smart contract, anyone can change it.
Yun. Okay.
Okay? And you can have a choice if you want to put it open source or not. Smart contract, literally on Ethereum, it's all open source. So technically, ang pinagkaiba nun, once you put it there, once you deploy the contract, you can amend, but you can use version 2 of that. So ngayon, meron tinatawag na upgradables, but I'm not for it. I usually want to do the plain smart contract that you cannot edit and change.
Oo, okay. So yun ang pinaka-basic difference. Sa smart contract, it's open source, meaning nakikita ng lahat kung ano yung ginawa mong code o yung constitution mo.
Yep.
Tapos hindi lang yun, hindi mo na mapapalitan yun.
Yes.
At alam ng lahat, ito ang susundan nating lahat, ito yung mangyayari. Wala nang magbabago. Compared to Web 2, yung ginagamit ngayon is nobody knows what the programming is. Kumbaga kung may malware ba yan o
Wala.
may kalokohan yan, hindi natin nakikita.
Correct.
So yun ang maganda doon sa Web3.
Yes. And kahit na gusto mong gumawa ng version 2 nun, yung version 1 nandun pa rin.
Yun.
Hindi mo siya ini-edit.
Oo.
Yeah, nag-a-amend ka.
Ayun, okay. Pero to amend requires na dahil nga decentralized yan, lahat ng mga nodes o yung nag-a-approve or validator, kailangan silang
niya.
mag-agree.
Yes.
O hindi lang basta-basta pinapalitan yan.
That's correct.
Ayun ang mahirap.
Yun ang mahirap na gawin kung hindi ka gagamit ng blockchain.
Right, okay.
So that's why pag sinasabi nila private blockchain, for me, like, it's a marketing.
Kaya nga, yun na nga, alam mo, yung mga ganyan, may nakikita nga ako na sinasabi nga nila na, we're decentralized, ganyan, we're on the blockchain. Pero at the same time, nakikita ko, hindi naman talaga sila decentralized. Kasi meron silang authority to change the code eh. May ganun eh, may mga ibang...
Actually, may maraming school of thoughts about it. I mean, we can debate all night or all day if you want. But for me kasi, if you are really, don't call it blockchain na lang. Right? Kasi that's DLT, distributed ledger technology. And one good example of DLT is blockchain.
Right.
But blockchain in general is supposed to be public,
right?
Or have a consensus mechanism. But pero paano yung privacy? So yan na, papasok na tayo dyan. So technically, kailangan hybrid. So technically, there's a public component, there's a private component, which I wrote a paper that I presented to COMELEC. I think that was 2 years ago.
Okay, the reason you presented it to COMELEC, ano yung solusyon? Ano yung problema na gusto mo solusyonan?
It's really blockchain voting. Meaning,
blockchain voting,
right?
Wow.
Meaning, for example, so of course, I don't have an evidence that there's a cheating, etc. Right? But imagine that there's a trustless system, right? That no one can control. That if Chris voted this person, right? It's gonna be that person. And technically, all the source code are on-chain. So you cannot change the source code.
And the information is all validated. It's trustless. Wala nang, kumbaga, out of the hands of COMELEC na yung pagbibilang.
Yeah, and it's transparent.
Yes.
There's no central database.
So, kita ng lahat, because it's open source, kita ng lahat, all the counting that's happening.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And yung pinesent mo to sa COMELEC? It
was an election summit. I just don't remember if 2022 or 2023. They're good. They're responsive about it. But at the end of the implementation is very different from ideation stage.
Okay. Sige, tatanong ko sa'yo, in terms of implementation, did they ever say na...
I think they just considered that, pero hindi naman na-implement pa.
Is it hindi na-implement dahil nga mahirap ma-implement pa rin to? I mean, what you presented, I mean, in fairness, I'll just give a little bit of slack to COMELEC. You presented it, but you have to build it. And now make sure that it's scalable to the entire... Mahirap yun.
Mahirap yun, yeah. That's why I'm saying the idea and the framework or the prototype, it's easier. Meaning it's easy to say that we can do this, we can do that. But in terms of implementation, then that's gonna be, what do you call that? Yun yung kailangan pag-isipan mabuti. Yun yung kailangan may plano. Yun yung kailangan na may legal basis, etc. Maraming gagawin. But at least COMELEC is open that time when I presented that.
So kung ganun, Paul, may budget kasi ang COMELEC, if I remember correctly, parang per election, they're at 10 to 20 billion pesos. What do you think? 20 billion pesos, kaya ba natin gawin to? Kung makuha natin yung kontrata?
Even lower.
Okay,
even lower.
so...
Yeah, even lower.
Hindi, kasi you have to be the one to run the elections din eh.
Yeah.
Kaya kailangan ganun kalaki kasi yun yung pagde-deploy ng mga machines and everything, pag-build ng hardware. Hindi lang to software, hardware din to eh.
I think it's lower. I don't have, hindi na aabot ng 20 billion yan.
Wow.
Kasi ang blockchain mas software play kaysa sa hardware.
You're right. Oo nga, no? Okay. So, this is interesting. Sige. So, kung makunan kita ng kontrata with the COMELEC, hindi. We're talking right now here on the podcast. If I get you a contract, gawin natin to. I mean, sakit sa ulo lang to sa totoo lang. Pero ako, game ako dito.
For advocacy, yes. I can. Yeah. It's not, paano ba? Like, I can really, like, I'm 100% sure it will work.
Yes, ako rin. I know it will work.
But we need partners to do it.
Right. The right team to be able to implement the entire chain of of every stage of it, di ba? Kasi yun yung mahirap di ba?
And my proposal is, you have to have nodes in every municipal, the classroom, etc.
Right, oo. So
But
yun na yung mga nodes mo, yung mga precincts pwede maging
yeah,
nodes.
but you don't need a big server kasi it's just a node eh. It's
Yes.
validating it. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so aside from Comelec, so this is one use case na nabanggit na natin ngayon when it comes to where the Web3 or blockchain can make a difference. Okay, another, I mean, ang dami ako nakikitang use case dito na alam naman ng mga tao, di ba? Real world assets is pinag-uusapan na ngayon. And in the Philippines, ang daming beses na ako nakarinig na nagpo-propose sa akin na mag-invest sa mga we're going to tokenize land titles, mga
Mm.
condo titles. Ang dami akong narinig na. May iba pa nga fractional,
Yeah,
meaning
yeah, yeah.
isang title pwede nyo 10 kayo o 100 kayo na may-ari nun. Pero sa totoo lang, ang pinaka-concern ko is tinitignan ko anong blockchain ang ginagamit nila. Kasi guys, maraming mga blockchains, hindi lang Ethereum. At ang palagi ko sinasabi, kahit gumawa ka ng app dito, paano kung yung blockchain na yan ay mawala? Paano kung hindi yan yung magiging dominant blockchain? Eh di paano yung title na yun? Ano mangyayari doon? So ngayon, kaya tingin ko hindi nagpo-progress ang Web3 dahil nga sobrang fragmented ang Web3 right now because of all the blockchains. Ano nakikita mong solusyon dito moving forward?
Okay. I think let me first like what do you call that? Dugtungan natin yung RWA. Kasi
Okay?
that's a very interesting topic and if in fact I created a startup for that. So I think one of the future of Web3 in general or the tokens, right, is really RWA.
Mm.
Because in RWA, it has a physical backing, like
Mhm.
that physical asset.
Right.
Now, I think technology is just 10% of it. 90% uh, work for RWA is really compliance.
Right.
Why? Because how do you now certify, right?
Mhm.
That I have a really, I really have a gold mine
Right.
that says I have 1 trillion worth of gold. How do you do that? Right? So you need to go to the government. For example, in the Philippines, you have DENR,
Ah,
which issue MPSA, right? Because we're kind of like, looking at it, like on the mining perspective. That's
okay.
why I have an experience on doing that. You need to go to BSP because we
Yep.
have a share for that. You need to go to like say international body like giving JORC permit, etc. Those a lot. It's really a lot of like compliance for you to be able to say legit yung RWA na yan. Now, anong pinagkaiba yan kaysa mag-release na lang ako ng non-blockchain component or
Mm.
non-token component? No, the good thing about RWA is it's really good. It's really good. One is because when you put this audit on the blockchain, it becomes immutable. Now you're putting the accountability to the one who's meron talaga kaming gold, etc. Second is RWA in terms of crypto, there's a big market, there's a big liquidity portion of that
Mhm.
na kayang magbigay sa Pilipinas, right? Ng opening. Meaning, if let's say I am a smaller telco company, I want to, uh to 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 grow my business,
Okay.
right? And I need more capital. Pero may projection naman ako, may asset ako.
Mhm.
And then I can tap the global market for that.
Hindi na limited sa
Hindi na
Philippines lang.
limited sa Philippines.
Oo. And so ang nakikita kong problema dito talaga, it's not the technology. It's still again about validation. Validating that you own something, that you're the rightful owner at kahit na ano pang gawin natin sa blockchain, kung hindi maayos yung side na yon, di yung maling information lang ang malalagay at magiging totoo. Kumbaga, you're making the wrong right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yun ang problema lang. So, kailangan pa rin ma-improve on our side, the input. Especially in the Philippines, diba? Kaya nga ang daming fake diploma.
Mm,
Kasi kung magagawa ngayon, parang ganun din yung mangyayari except now you're putting the fake diploma on the blockchain.
correct,
So,
correct.
kailangan ayusin yung side na yun. So, it's a little bit
Yes.
harder than what most people think in terms
Mm.
of implementation.
Mm.
Okay.
RWA is not easy, though it's a very, very exciting part of
Yes.
Web3, right? Or
Oo.
tokenization. But you need to quadruple check if someone is asking you to invest on an RWA product.
Yes. Oo. So sa ngayon, that's why hindi ako nag-invest sa mga RWA kasi nga, I really look at all of it as, yeah, right, okay, you say you own it, you put it on the blockchain. That doesn't mean you own it because you put it on the blockchain. First, I need to know how did you verify that, how can I verify that you own it pa rin?
Yeah.
Until the verification process is, yun immutable in its sense, then saka ko na makikita na pwedeng yung sa ano. Sige, tanong ko sa ngayon, Paul. Right now, what's interesting for me is this. A lot of projects or a lot of Web3 projects are usually with mga meme coins,
Mm.
mga NFTs. Marami akong Filipino developers nakikilala that create games. At yun ang alam ng mga tao when they talk about Web3 eh. But what they don't know is merong mga real world uses talaga ang Web3 that is important to our daily lives, and you're doing one of them. O
Yeah.
ano yung ginawa mo recently na I'm really excited about that. I'd love to hear from you.
Sure. So recently, of course, the government is very open now on this transparency thing, right? We're seeing that.
Mhm.
But I think it was still last year that we've together working with the government to conceptualize a budgeting system that is transparent. All right. So we just got live. All right.
Okay.
End of July, we technically use blockchain to mint, if may use the term, to mint or to put the SARO and NCA, all right, to the blockchain. So SARO is a special allotment release order.
Okay.
NCA is notice of cash allowance, right? This is allocation pala, sorry. This is from the Department of Budget and Management.
DBM.
Yep.
Okay.
So the good thing about that is these are all public document, right?
Okay.
And again, I mean, kanina pa kami ni Chris dito nagsasabi what's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 or between non-blockchain and blockchain system. So this transparent documents, right? Ito yung ini-issue nila sa mga agency.
Okay.
All right? So meaning if I said, nag-issue ako sa Department of Health ng 100 million, saan
Okay.
ginamit? All right, yung SARO. And yung notice of cash allocation, kung ano na yung cash na allocate na. And you can see that on the decentralized apps that we've created. Very detailed.
Okay.
Na you can question it. Kasi
Okay.
nandun na eh. Now,
Okay.
there is a system called ADRS, which is an internal system of DBM that integrates to the blockchain.
Okay.
Now, it integrates to our system, Bayani Chain, and it becomes immutable na kahit DBM, pag na-mint na nila sa blockchain, hindi na nila pwedeng i-edit.
Just to be clear, no, when you say pag na-mint, kung nalagay na yung information sa blockchain, hindi na nila pwedeng baguhin yan.
Hindi na.
Okay. Makakatulong ba ito sa corruption?
That's a good question. Actually, it's very deep, no? I mean, I can't really say that technology or blockchain is a silver bullet
Okay.
for us to be able to alleviate or to, what do you call that, remove the corruption at all. In fact, it's really grassroots eh. For me, hindi talaga siya on the technology side nangyayari. It's really human.
Okay.
Right? Now, but the good thing about this is it makes them accountable.
Yun.
All right? Because whatever the budget is, saan ginamit, etc., once it's on the blockchain, it's gonna be there forever.
Mhm.
Because it's, again, as I mentioned, kung gusto mong i-hack yan, i-hack mo yung 100,000 nodes, for example. Right? And even me, I don't have a full control.
Okay, so
With that.
ibig sabihin kahit ngayon na live na to, you Paul, cannot change it.
No, I can't.
So hindi ka pwede tutukan ng baril ng isang government official. Sabihin, Paul, ayusin mo yan para makuha ko yung pera.
Wala talaga. Hindi ko yan magagawa. Kasi it's let's say Polygon has how many nodes? I'm not sure. Let's say 200,000. Hindi ko naman kayang i-hack yung 200,000 na yan. Just to edit everything, right?
Yep.
So that's the good thing about it. Meaning, even though it's not inherently or directly fighting the corruption, but technically it makes the government officials accountable.
Right. So in other words, it just makes it harder to manipulate information.
To cheat, to manipulate. Yep.
To be able to hide the corruption.
Yep.
Okay. And just to be clear, when you said kanina that it's on Bayani Chain, tapos biglang sinabi mo Polygon, Bayani Chain is on top of the Polygon network.
Yeah, so Bayani Chain is the BaaS provider, blockchain as a service.
Okay.
So technically, of course, the DBM may partner na IT company and went to public bidding called Exact IT.
Yep.
So Exact developed on top of our platform called the Lumen.
Okay.
Is part ng Bayani Chain, no? So what it does, it makes let's say programmer or developer to understand blockchain na API lang yung pinag-uusapan. They don't even need to code like smart contracts.
Okay.
So they just need to tap to our API and everything can be tokenized or can be put on chain already.
Okay. Sige.
So,
So,
sorry, it's live already. They can go to blockchain.dbm.gov.ph.
you mean anyone can,
Anyone.
but okay, anyone can look at it, pero let me just phrase it this way. Alam mo ba, pumupunta ako sa Etherscan, for example. Andiyan nga yung information, di ko na maintindihan. Sus Mario, so
Uh,
hahanapin ko yung transaction ko, ano ba to? Di ko, most people are probably like me na, andyan yung information, but how do you read it? Did you
Yeah.
guys make it in a way that's easily human readable?
Yeah, so that's a good thing. I mean, that's the reason why Exact IT, right, the partner of DBM, created a DApp, decentralized application or a web app that is translating already
Okay.
whatever is on chain. Now, kung medyo techy ka, edi punta tayo sa Polyscan, di ba? That they can filter this information via smart contract.
Okay, pero kung hindi nga, sige, may
Yeah.
yung DApp, anyone can
Yeah.
download it?
Anyone can see that in the blockchain, the dvm.gov.ph. So
Oh,
maybe I
yan
can see.
guys, alam na nyo. So,
Yeah,
sa
so
lahat
it's here.
ng mga
It's
ano.
live here. Yeah.
Yun. So, tingnan mo.
Yeah. It's here.
Oh,
So they can
okay.
search the document, for example, for
Ayun. So,
Saro.
wait. I don't need the app. Ito na yun. If
Yeah.
I go to the
Web-based.
website,
Yeah.
mababasa ko siya
Yep.
in human readable
Yeah,
format.
ayan. Let's say we filter this, then you
Ayun.
can see all the NCA, and you
Okay.
can see there, ayan na, yung mga allocation. Ayan.
Sige, I'm gonna show that on the screen, guys. Sige, okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. So the beauty kasi right now, napansin ko, I had a conversation lang with a congresswoman yesterday nga about this na because ngayon nangyayari sa flood control issues, na people are now becoming more vigilant at gusto nilang mismo sila na tumingin ng budget. The national budget for 2026, they're opening it for individuals, for public groups to actually scrutinize it. Kaya nakikita ko dito, this is one step to be able to do it that makes it easier and makes sense of that information. Kasi nga, right now, sobrang grabe kasi yung corruption natin. Maganda tong mga ganitong mga mangyayaring ganito. Pero ang tanong ko, you're doing this now for DBM, pero it's only, you said Saro and
NCA.
NCA.
Yeah.
Okay. But DBM is the entire budget, di ba? This is just one aspect of it. Will it be implemented in the entire budgetary system of the government?
Yeah. So again, it's gonna be DBM's prerogative later, right?
Okay.
Again, we're just a service provider there, meaning we're the licensed partner, etc. But it's up to DBM. The system is open for everything.
Okay.
Anything that is document, anything that is record. So they can use blockchain for them to convert anything, to tokenize it, or to convert it to become immutable.
Okay, so ito ngayon na ginawa nila, does that mean they still have paperwork for this? Like literally paperwork? Kasi yun ang problema sa gobyerno, ang daming papel eh.
I think, of course, there are phases, no? Depende pa rin yan kasi meron tayong archiving policy sa government. Di ba? That they archive this record. But of course, in the, not really extreme, but meaning in the, parang the innovative part of that, ibig sabihin, kung ang government gusto talagang mawala yung papel, for example, because that's exactly what, mahal pa rin yan eh, di ba?
Yes.
May cost pa rin yan eh. Then they can put everything on chain.
Yeah. Kasi in essence talaga, what I'm seeing now and what I've been advocating as well is talagang we go paperless.
Yeah.
Paper is crap. Mga resibo na kukuha natin kung sa parking, gano'n, that's crap. That doesn't mean anything. Di ba? Even mga diploma ka is crap, unless it's tokenized, it really means nothing to me at this point. So, pero Paul, alam mo, na-realize ko, this is, for the people watching, I'm gonna call this podcast the deep dive kasi grabe ang lalim nung pinasukan natin sa Web3. This is really deep down the rabbit hole. At mukhang kailangan tayong magkaroon ng mga ganitong conversation more often and deeper pa sa mga na interesado sa Web3 at sa blockchain at sa crypto on a deeper level beyond just trading. These kinds of conversation are needed and I appreciate your time, Paul. Sa mga nanonood ngayon, I'm sure marami kayong mga tanong para kay Paul. Pwede niyong isulat yan sa comment section sa ibaba. At kung may mga comment kayo o baka may mga naintindihan kayo dito that you wanted to expound on, sulat din niya sa comment section sa ibaba. And please, kung nagustuhan mo yung mga ganitong klaseng content, make sure to follow my YouTube channel, this particular YouTube channel, that's dedicated for crypto, investing, trading, and everything Web3. All right? Salamat, Paul, sa oras mo, pare. I learned so much today, and I hope the viewers learned a lot as well. And we'll definitely have more conversations like this. This is Chris Tan and Paul Soliman. We'll see you guys in the next episode.